Problem number 5. Regretting writing these so large, I haven't given myself much space over here. I've got my observed table. Underneath it I have my expected table. I've taken the subtotals and the grand total and I've brought them down to my expected table. And now I'm going to work just based off of those. So kind of ignore what happened above and just worry about the subtotals and the grand total. The value is going to be row times column over grand on the calculator. 20 times 30 divided by 67 is, now that's 8 point, I do want one decimal place, one extra decimal place. That actually gets rounded up to 9.0. Now, instead of calculating this the same way, I know that it has to be 11. 9 plus 11 is the only way to get to 20. This value, so that should be 30 times 22 over 67. So let's try it. 30 times 22 divided by 67 is, now that's going to be 9.9, we'll call it. So this should be 12.1. Last one. So now I have 30 times 25 divided by 67. That's going to be 11.2. If this is 11.2, then this would have to be 13.8. Sometimes, and this is all because of rounding up versus rounding down, you'll notice that I did manage to make the columns all add up, but if I add across here, I would have ended up with 30.1. Where did the extra 0.1 come from? Well, I ended up rounding all three of these up. Typically you're going to round some up and some down, but when you round that many up, well, you might get something that's not exactly 30, and what you do then is just accept that. It's something that you find in tables. Not all tables add up to 100% in statistics. Next, I ask you to do everything except perform the test, so you do all of the setup. Null hypothesis is going to be no pattern between blank and blank. So you have to figure out what the difference between male and female is, and between shipping, administration, and assembly. Difference between male and female is usually considered either sex or gender. It depends on the field you're working in, what is the best description. I will go with gender, and the difference between these three, well, for alliteration, I'll go with job. So no pattern between gender and job. Alternative will be such a pattern exists. Next, I'll look up the value in the table. I won't try to move the camera this time. How many degrees of freedom do we have? Well, degree of freedom should be the number of rows minus 1 times the number of columns minus 1. That's 1 times 2, so we have 2 degrees of freedom. Alpha equals 0.05. Degree of freedom is 2. On the table, that means that your critical chi-squared is 5.991. At this point, you should stop. There's nothing else that you're asked to do. You are not asked to find chi-squared or come to a judgment. You're just asked to set up expected, set the hypotheses, find the degree of freedom, and the critical chi-squared. So I am going to put my name at the bottom and stop.